Welcome to Fantasy Football Court. We are four regular guys talking all things fantasy football. Unlike some other shows, we only talk about fantasy football. We make our arguments, we present our cases, and you are the judge. We are all in the same fantasy football league. The people are real, the league is real, and the trash talking is real. Court is now in session. Welcome again to Fantasy Football Court. We're glad to have you today. My name is Charles.
My name is Andrew.
My name is Nick.
And I'm Jeremy.
Today we're going to put the Jacksonville Jaguars on the stand and we're going to cross-examine them and ask them questions. I do want to say this before we continue. We are going to break down the individual positions, but that'll be in future videos. We're getting questions or comments about it. That will happen, but we can't cover everything in one video. But you just hang on and those will be coming. Like I said, today we're talking about the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we're just briefly going to talk about maybe what our initial thoughts is of the Jacksonville Jaguars, and we'll break it down after that. Andy, do you have any thoughts on the Jacksonville Jaguars?
The initial thought is it scares me, but there's some curiosity there with some of the players they got coming in.
Yeah, I agree. And we'll talk more about the positions, and I almost got into it, but I do think there is some potential there, but there's still a lot there that I'm afraid of. Nick?
I think there's some potential with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Offensive line and Leonard Fournette. That's what I want to see.
Okay. All right, let's talk about the number one position that is key to any team's success, and that would be the quarterback. He's the one that makes the proper reads and makes the correct throws, and we're talking about Blake Bortles. And I'm going to start with Nick on this. Nick, what's your thoughts about Blake Bortles?
Last year, I loved Blake Bortles going into the season.
You did. Did you
not
want some Blake Bortles?
I did.
I want some Blake Bortles.
Well, he did not fall to me. Somebody drafted him a round earlier than what I thought he would go. So anyway,
And he was tore up.
I was mad. I wasn't happy about that. I settled for Kirk Cousins, which I think finished in the top 5 or 6 in fantasy quarterbacks. So I lucked up out of that one. But I still think I have high hopes for Blake Bortles again this year.
Some people never learn.
Well, they added Brandon Albert. If he can stay healthy, he was a great offensive tackle with Kansas City. His little stint with the Dolphins, he couldn't stay healthy, but he was a top flight offensive tackle at Kansas City. They added Cam Robinson, who has the ability to play tackle or guard. That's going to improve that
And the
offensive.
ability to get you holding penalties and false start penalties and blow assignment.
Well, we'll see how I think he'll do pretty decent in the NFL. Just them two will help that offensive line a lot, and they added more weapons with the wide receiver core. It's going to help him a lot. So I think he has some potential. If that offensive line can gel and protect, he has potential, because last year he was a top 10 quarterback. That probably surprised a lot of y'all, because he had some miserable games, but he was number 9 in PPR leagues. Well, I don't guess PPR and standard doesn't matter, quarterbacks, but he was number 9 in fantasy scoring quarterback last year. He has the potential to improve on that this year and be more consistent with a better offensive line.
Would you agree, though, that he's another one of those quarterbacks that hasn't quite got to the level that they drafted him?
No.
Where I think they would.
He's not worthy of the top 5 pick they spent on him.
Yeah, but I think he has the potential.
Jeremy, any thoughts on the quarterback?
He regressed last year from his previous year.
I agree with that.
Last year he threw for less than 4,000. 2015 he over 4,000. Last year 23 passing TDs. But here's the scary number: 16 interceptions.
Yeah, that's not good.
When you have, when you're within throwing range of your touchdowns with as many interceptions as you have, that hurts a lot. Now,
I think that the reason for that was the offensive line.
Well, he had less sacks last year than the year before.
Yeah, but
he only had 34 sacks last year.
I mean, the sacks doesn't matter. If you're running for your life and you just throw it up, you're going to end up with an interception. Now, them are kind of bad decisions on his part, but with a better offensive line, he's able to make better decisions.
So you do think they've made improvements in that offensive line?
I do.
Okay.
I think maybe some,
but not enough.
But when you struggle as much as that offensive line has the last 3 years, I almost think they need a complete retooling. No, I don't think adding 1 to 2 pieces is going to significantly. Yeah, but if you add 2 or 3 pieces a year,
and that's what they're doing.
I think they're another year adding 2 more pieces away from being solid.
Good thing. Any thoughts on Blake Bortles?
Blake Bortles is a quarterback that I believe this year is playing for a potential to stay with them next year.
Yeah, I
he's
agree.
playing- It's a
And,
contract year.
Out of everybody in the NFL, there's quarterbacks that have to prove themselves. This year, Blake Bortles has just as much as anybody else to lose, and he's playing this year to try to keep his job next year.
I think if Blake Bortles has another subpar year,
He's gone.
I believe Jacksonville looks at the draft next year.
Oh, I
And
think
getting
you're
somebody
looking.
else.
I think you're looking at a 10 to 15 million a year swing with Blake Bortles this year. He's either going to make an additional 10, 15, or he's going to lose that 10 or 15 this
Right.
year. He'll either be a $4 million quarterback next year or a $20 million.
Well, I think they already picked up the option on him next year.
They picked up $19 million, fifth year option for 2018.
So
Yeah.
they still
So
they
they're
still
gonna have
hope they still hope that he's able to produce. Let me ask you this, guys, briefly.
But that's only guaranteed for injury. The only guarantee there for that. So
Yeah.
if he doesn't perform,
They
they
can
could
cut
end up
him.
letting him go. And catch
Yeah.
him.
The only way he stays is if he's
So
hurt.
he's playing for his job.
So Nick brought it up a while ago. He finished as the 9th overall fantasy quarterback. Is he somebody you're okay with being your first quarterback? I'm going to step out on a limb, and his laughter ought to tell you the answer is no.
No.
I don't think any of us, want him as our first quarterback, and I'm not even sure that I would pick him up as my second quarterback when there's so many other NFL quarterbacks that are starting in the league.
I would like him as my second quarterback, but that's just me.
Yeah, he just loves him.
Smash him right behind Kirk
He's
Cousins.
got Blake Bortles' poster hanging up in his bedroom at the house.
Coming out of the draft, seeing how the season goes, he could be somebody you pick up and end up using.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. I'm going to look at him at the waiver wires if I'm in trouble and my quarterback goes down. All right, let's move on to the next position. I'm excited about seeing this guy. Leonard Fournette was drafted out of LSU, and he was drafted really high. I don't remember what overall pick he was.
Fourth overall.
4. So Jacksonville has a belief that Leonard Fournette can be the type of person that can carry the load for Jacksonville. Jeremy, I'm going to start with you on this one.
I'm friends with Leonard's agent. Leonard's agent keeps telling me draft him as high as you can because
He's a
he's going to
wise
have a
man.
huge year.
He's an intelligent, wise.
I told him that he's an idiot because TJ Yeldon is not near as good a running back as Leonard Fournette. But if TJ Yeldon is not a bad running back either, and he struggled because that offensive line struggled,
Yeah.
I think Leonard Fournette is going to struggle because the offensive line is not real good. I don't think they're maybe not as horrible as they have been, but they're not
You don't
good
see
yet.
enough of an improvement. Nick?
Well, I buy Leonard Fournette this year.
Yeah, I'm with
The
you.
two offensive lines I suggested earlier they picked up are run blocking, or more oriented, run blocking oriented offensive linemen. That's just going to help him a lot. And I think the only thing that's going to hurt him is he's not. I don't think he might not be there on the third down with pass blocking and catching out of the backfield. I think that might be T.J. Yeldon's.
Are you
thing.
not scared of injury with Fournette?
No.
No, I think he was.
Even though he got injured last year and the year before
No, I
that.
do not believe he was injured last
He
year.
mailed it in.
I think he gave up.
Yeah, he
And
mailed
once
it
Les
in.
Miles got fired, he
Yeah.
gave up.
He
And he
looked-
just said he was looking for the
for the
draft. He
NFL.
knew he would be
Yeah,
a
I agree.
top pick. He said he was over.
Yeah,
Because
I
you
agree.
remember the Florida game, he wasn't going to play. He said he was hurt. He said he was hurt.
Yeah, but there
But
was
then
a
he goes
foot
up there and
injury
plays.
because if you remember now, Leonard did not participate fully in the combine. He went and ran his pro day for a lot of his numbers because of his foot injury.
I think he.
There might have been something there, but I'm not worried about it. You worried about it?
No, I'm not worried about
What do you
it.
think about Leonard Fournette?
I think he's going to be pretty solid.
Yeah.
I think he's going
Y'all,
to come out.
y'all take him round one,
Somebody
and
that I am
I'll
worried
be
about
more
though, as far as
happy.
injuries is T.J. Yeldon, and I think
Well, I'm not buying either one of the running backs.
I think Chris Ivory's going to end up slipping up there, taking more from T.J. Yeldon.
Ivory's
He
a
could.
talented
Not
running
Fournette.
back.
He
Not
could.
Fournette.
He could.
But I think he's going to end up slipping up, taking more
More from Yeldon.
from Yeldon.
I think Chris Ivory gets cut before the season starts.
Really?
I don't know.
I'm going to read you. I ran across this quote in my study. I'm going to read
How
you the
old is
most
Chris Ivory?
stupid
29?
comment I think I've ever seen in my life. I'm not going to tell you what website I read this from, but this is what this guy says. And y'all probably eat it up and agree with it, but I think it's stupid. He said, Leonard Fournette is going to hit the ground running, and he'll offer more upside than Sean Alexander in his prime.
I don't know about that.
I'm not going that far.
But he is going to hit the ground running, I believe.
Yeah.
He's the clear-cut number one right off the get-go.
Yes.
And T.J. Yeldon, Chris Ivory, they're going to be splitting whatever time.
They're gonna
that
let him
they
get a drink of water to go back in.
But
So here's projections I'm seeing. Y'all tell me if he does these. 350 rushes, 25 receptions, 1,800 plus yards, 12 TDs.
Maybe not that many
Yeah.
yards, but I see that many touchdowns.
Yeah.
I do. I think Leonard Fournette is going to be somebody they feature. They drafted him high. They got the offensive lineman to give him some support. I think Blake Bortles is a good enough quarterback to keep the defense honest, and I believe he's going to have some lanes. I really
Second
believe he
round
is.
or third round?
Well, that's what I was about to get to. He's currently being taken as the where are we at here? He's taken as the 13th overall running back. So you're looking at probably mid to end of the second round by the time you figure in receivers taken in there. I don't. If I'm, let's say I'm number 6 or 7, I draft my position player, and coming back and Leonard Fournette's there. I think I
Leonard
seriously.
Fournette in the second round.
I really think about taking him in the
pick
second.
18.
Yeah, I think about it because running backs is such a premium position in our league. There's just not that many single running backs because they do it by committees by so many.
the only thing that's in a PPR league that's unproven for Fournette in college, he only had 41 receptions in
Yeah.
all of
He
his
didn't have a
college
quarterback.
career. Well, I understand that, but
the
You
fact-
think Jordan
unproven-
Jefferson can hit
That's
it?
because they
comes
just
to
sat
throwing
back
it
there
forward.
and tossed it to him, and that was their offense.
Well, that's all he needed to do. But the times that they did throw it to him, he averaged 12.8
Do-
yards
does it not-
after the catch.
Does it not concern
That
you
doesn't
though?
bother me.
That's because he was their player.
Does
That's
that
what
bother
the
you?
defense.
No, it doesn't
keyed
bother me.
on.
I'm just saying he's unproven as far as
I'll give you that.
Does,
that
does
is
it
concerned.
does it not
in a
concern you
PPR
though
league.
that if you go back and look at Leonard's college stats, that against higher quality teams, that Leonard struggled. He seemed
No.
to feast on lesser quality teams.
That's
they
because-
focused on him. They shut him down because he was their
And
offense.
NFL teams aren't going to do that with
No,
Jacksonville.
you got Marcus Mariota. You got
You don't have Marcus Mariota.
You got
Blake Bortles.
Yeah, you got Allen
And Blake-
Robinson, and you have
Blake
receiving
Bortles.
options
Yeah,
out there you have
well,
to worry
still,
about.
Blake Bortles finished. I'm not saying I want him on my team,
They're
but
not going to be able to focus like they did in college, but
Jacksonville
They're
has
gonna be
more
safe.
around
If
him
you
than LSU
bring up
did.
wide receivers with Jacksonville, you've got to say that LSU consistently, why Leonard Fournette was in there, produced first and second round wide
But
receivers
they
too.
didn't have the quarterback.
Yeah, they had no quarterback
They
to
had no
even
quarterback.
get it to him.
I agree. So I'm taking. So let's say you get the pick number 1. You draft your position player, which will be a running back, and Leonard Fournette's there in the second round. You don't even consider Leonard Fournette at that point.
I would at that point, according to what is available to me at the, because I
At
get
the
back-to-back
24th
picks
pick.
I
at
have a
24
feeling-
and 25. If I do not have a top-notch receiver option available, then I'll go and take whatever the best running back is available. And if Leonard Fournette is the best running back available at that moment, I will begrudgingly take him.
I'm going to make a bold prediction. By the time the weekend of the fantasy football drafts, which is like Labor Day, because the season starts September 7th.
right.
By Labor Day, the average draft position of Leonard Fournette will be the first round.
I believe so too.
Will be the first
I've
round.
seen
by
it.
that point.
I've
Right
seen
now,
a-
I have him at 26. The
I've
average draft
overall.
position. So that's right in that area where number
Yeah,
one coming
but he's
back
going to
through
shoot up the board.
first and
Ezekiel
third round.
Elliott was lower than that at this time last year.
Yeah, I'm looking at a lot of mock drafts this year. I've seen a lot of people picking him around 14, 15.
No, you get him 14, 15. You do the happy dance after you draft
And
him.
we want to play in your league.
Yeah, we want to play him. If,
No, not 14, 15 round. 14,
If you
15,
draft him
15.
at 14 and 15,
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I think that's going to. Leonard Fournette will be a first round draft choice in the fantasy football the weekend of Labor Day.
Lord help me.
Right now,
I am with
I struggle
idiots.
with that because of the team that he's on.
You what?
You're
I struggle
acting
with
like
that
you're
because-
plugging Leonard
I'm
Fournette
just
in with
saying.
a Dallas Cowboys
He's not.
offensive
No,
line.
I'm saying-
Their offensive line
Look,
sucks.
Every
Not
year,
saying-
players drop and fall during the preseason, whether it's warranted or not. He is going to be a player that people are going to get excited about. And if
Just
don't
like
think-
you.
And if you don't think he's worthy, then pass on him. Just pick somebody else.
I
I'm
don't-
saying he will go. In the
I will
first
be
round.
passing on Leonard
I don't-
Fournette
I-
unless he falls to me in round 3. Then
I
I'll
do
look
not,
at him.
Yeah, I do not think he's worthy of a first round pick, but I think he will, like he said. I think there will be people that will take him in the first round. Most
I think he
drafts,
might
I
be
think,
worth a
come
first round
draft day,
pick.
he will be in the first round.
I'm gonna kick y'all's butt with Leonard Fournette on my roster.
sixth overall pick.
He's getting all
I'm
hot.
not 17.
Well, look,
Charles McAfee.
I'm telling you what.
chooses.
If I'm
Leonard
number six,
Fournette.
if I'm number six, and the big three are gone, I mean, what running backs are left? Okay, you got DeMarco Murray. What other running backs do y'all?
Melvin Gordon, LaShawn
Yeah,
McCoy.
I'm not happy with any of them.
I
I want a running back. I'm going to look at what this guy does in preseason. If he's hobbling, if he's weeble wobbling down the field, you know, I may not be interested. But I really think he's going to do more than these clowns
The
do.
bad thing about it, I don't think you see him much in preseason.
Well, then I don't know that I trust him enough in
Do
the
you
first
take him
round.
above Jay, Jordan Howard, Devontae Freeman?
Yes.
All three of
Not
those
Jay
guys?
Yes.
Yes. And not Donavante Freeman,
Yes.
but yes.
Yes. Yes.
Howard.
I do.
Yeah.
I do. All right. We've got to move on.
Jordan
All you got to do is say the word Leonard Fournette, and Charles gets all hot and tingly over here.
That was uncalled for. All right. Well, is there any other running back? I mean, I ain't no sense of talking
No.
about Chris Ivory or T.J. Yeldon. They're
I think, well,
not even being drafted in fantasy football.
If
league
you
right
do draft Leonard Fournette, it'd be a smart thing to draft T.J. Yeldon as your.
It would.
I don't think so.
Last year I had T.J. Yeldon, and he stayed on the bench the entire year.
Yeah.
Never saw my
now. And I don't
starting
know if I
lineup.
could draft Chris Ivory either.
No,
I don't draft
neither
Chris
one of
Ivory.
them.
So that's even more reason. Get you some Leonard Fournette because there ain't nobody else behind him that can do anything. All right, let's move on before we get mud bogged down more. All right, let's look at the wide receivers. Nick, I'm gonna start with you on this. So, what are your thoughts on the wide receivers?
I like our receivers this year. Allen Robinson, if Blake Bortles performs, he can have a bounce back year. They also have Allen Hurns, who only played 11 games last year, but still was he still has the potential to be a really good receiver. He was hurt for most of the for 6 games out of the year, so. But besides that, he has a lot of potential. You have Marquise Lee, who was number 42 receiver in PPR leagues last year. He also is somebody that has a lot of potential. And they also drafted D.D. Westbrook. He does have some off-the-field issues, some attitude issues. The reason he fell in the draft, because he's a top-caliber receiver. They can stay cleaned up off the field. He has the potential to be their maybe even 10 for their number 2 receiver slot, maybe 3 receiver slot, and be a top 50 receiver this year.
D.D. Westbrook has a chance to be a breakout player.
Yeah.
I like him better than I do Allen Hurns.
Oh, wow.
I'm not saying he'll have better numbers than Allen Hurns. Don't get me wrong, but I think that where I draft D.D. Westbrook, which will be last pick, pretty much, I think I can get more value out of his pick than with Allen Hurns, where I would have to draft Allen Robinson. To get Allen Robinson, I think I would have to draft him in round 3 or 4.
Yeah, he's being the 17th receiver taken off the board currently. Any thoughts on the receivers?
The only concern about D.D. Westbrook is the concern that the Jaguars themselves have is with his attitude issue.
Yeah.
And some of the concerns there. Right now, he's sitting at number 4 on the depth chart, but I don't have a whole lot of comments on there. I think that those 3 players between Hurns, Lee, and Green, Westbrook, you got those 4 players there that are kind of contending for that 2nd and 3rd spot, and all of them have the upsides. And I'm not real big on any of their receivers saying I gotta have them.
Well, currently none other Jacksonville receivers are even being drafted. The only ones being drafted is Allen Robinson.
Well, I think there's a lot of talent there in that receiving corps. The thing about it, they might cancel each other out a little bit, and plus with the questionable offensive line quarterback play, it's kind of a risk trying to draft anybody but Allen Robinson.
See, I find that kind of funny. We say that, the offensive line is a risk when it comes to wide receivers, but, oh my goodness, Leonard Fournette, it don't hurt him at all.
Well, what I'm saying is that's
he's going to be rookie of the year.
That's if they stay healthy.
I don't think he's the best rookie running back this year.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, but I'm just saying.
There's a running back on the East Coast about midway up the country that's going to kill him.
Yeah, I think so. Not right away, but I think it's going to happen.
Like you get all hot and bothered with the Leonard Fournette name. You say Christian McCaffrey, my juices get flowing because
I know
it's
what he's talking about. He ain't going to be rookie of the year.
I
He will
wouldn't
not.
know.
You think Dalvin Cook?
No.
Let's say this.
I don't. Dalvin Cook's going to share too much.
Y'all going to get a lot
praise
more of
for
this
it.
when we get into the positions where we start jockeying over and making an argument over who we think ought to be, in what spot. And you got a little preview of that with this talk of the running back position. But we'll save that for later. But let's go ahead and move on to the tight end so we can try to wrap this up. Jeremy, what are your thoughts on the tight end?
Michael Rivera. I really don't look for a whole lot out of their tight end. You got Michael Rivera, you got Mercedes Lewis there too. I just don't see a whole lot there that really excites me. Last year, they had what I would consider a very talented tight end.
The guy that went to Tampa, right?
Julius Thomas, that was at
Miami.
You're right. He was at Denver and then went there.
He did very well at Denver, but he never really
And
done.
last year, he was underutilized and didn't have great numbers.
I think he has been the whole time at
So
Jacksonville.
I just don't see whoever they have, either Mercedes Lewis or Michael Rivera, looking real good.
Currently, any of the tight ends for Jacksonville are not being drafted at all.
Yeah, there's not. Michael Rivera was a backup last year in Oakland, and Oakland's first string tight end, I don't remember who it was. He wasn't even a fantasy producer, so I don't really see anything out of their tight ends this year.
They're going to block for Leonard Fournette.
That'd be about it. Which I think that's might be true because Mercedes Lewis,
Right.
I think it's like 6'6", 280, something like that. He's more of a blocking tight end. I think you're going to see him more in the game more than anybody just blocking
Thoughts on tight
to
ends?
help protect.
They're going to beef up that offensive line.
Yeah, I agree. So my man Fournette can get him some yardage. All right,
That was for you, Jeremy.
let's get off of that. All right, let's talk about the defense. Anything exciting about this defense, Nick?
They've improved a lot. They got Barry Church, who's one of the top half safeties in the league from Dallas. They signed him in free agency. Dante Fowler and Miles Jack should be back healthy this year. Two good pass rushers. Who's the corner they drafted? Jalen Ramsey has the potential to be a top 5, maybe even better corner this year.
So they've shored up that defense.
Yeah, that defense.
Or tried.
Yeah, that
AJ
defense.
Bouye's coming off a strong season.
Yeah, that defense has a lot of potential to be maybe a top 10 defense this
Wow.
year. And they have a lot of potential on that defense.
Jeremy, any thoughts?
They've got to get more sacks to jump into that top 10 rank.
With Dante Fowler and Miles
And
Jack coming off injury, that should help.
Nagaka, what's his name? But anyway, I think that does help. They do have favorable matchups in 3 of their first 4 games. So coming out of the block, they have at the Houston Texans, which could be a fairly favorable
because
you're
Houston's
getting
going to struggle with their
quarterback early.
position. Yep.
Then the Tennessee Titans, I don't think that's a real good matchup for them. I think they'll struggle there, but then they have Baltimore and the New York Jets.
Yeah, so they
So,
got a good first few weeks.
3 out of 4 weeks is
If
not
you're
a bad
sitting there
deal.
in like the 16th, 17th round, that's when you draft a defense. That's a defense you might look at to draft just because of the favorable matchups in the first 4 weeks.
Thoughts on defense?
I got them in the top 15, somewhere in there.
Okay. I don't really have much to say about defense. If you watched a few of our videos, we really don't.
He's starting Leonard Fournette as his defense.
Y'all
If he can get
y'all don't
20
see a
points,
beatdown
that's
right here on the camera. All right. I don't really have a thought on defense, so we're going to move on. What about the kicker? Andy, you got any thoughts on the kicker?
Jason Myers is their kicker. He's somewhere in the middle of the pack.
Yeah.
One of those
Kicker,
kickers
schmicker.
that
Ranked the 25th ranked kicker. Is what
last
I-
year.
Yeah.
Yeah, last year he was, and he's.
So that means he's a
not gonna be a
backup to
whole
your
lot.
backup kicker.
Yeah, he's not going to be a whole lot better than that this year. I really wouldn't have him on your team unless the matchup was just perfect for it and you don't have anybody else, but I think there'll be some other options out there.
In a league that 15 teams has buys,
That's
you
right.
may want to look at it.
Well, and then if they're playing a dome team, let's say in New Orleans, or they're playing Houston, or they're playing one of these dome teams.
Only if
away,
it's,
I mean, they're playing at the
only
dome.
if it's November or December.
Well,
The
they play the
weather's
Browns
bad.
or the Jets
Yeah.
or the.
Yeah, and it could, and there are some times you need to look at the weather forecast. I mean, if it's a torrential downpour and it's an outdoor game, I mean, you could have Justin Tucker and you're still going to, the wind and the rain, you still struggle with
Justin
that.
Tucker will still hit it.
But
Yeah, I probably would.
Oh, Winter Fournette
He's got
will
something
hit
to
it too.
flag where he can just
if
zoom it straight through the
if
rain and snow.
Jacksonville gets Justin Tucker and puts him in the backfield, I'm drafting him, Nick. Any thoughts on the kicker?
No, there's nothing there to desire.
All right, Jeremy, kicker.
Nah.
All right, just a brief overview real quick. We're going to run back down. Overall thoughts for the Jacksonville.
Overall thoughts are, I'm curious to see what's going to turn out.
Yeah, I want to see. Hopefully, I see some Leonard Fournette in the preseason to give me some more ammunition against these clowns.
If their offensive line stays healthy and improves and gels like I think it could, then they have a lot of potential at quarterback, running back, and receivers.
I'm just not sold on this team.
All right, If you have any questions, comments, or anything, good, bad, or indifferent,
Hit us up on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, at FF Court is the handle for all three.
If you want to write and tell me how stupid I am for not being high on Leonard Fournette, or you want to agree with my genius and tell these guys that they're idiots, be sure to weigh in on this matter and tell us what's going on. Tell us your thoughts and what you think.
all right, thank you for tuning in. Court is adjourned.